Welcome to this SQL and Database Fundamentals Study Guide, Part 3 of 4 from TestMole.com, where employers can test candidates and teams using pre-built or custom assessments. We also create free tests and guides like this. Please help us by liking this video. Subscribe for more study guides and free tests. And turn on notifications. Okay, let's begin. Why was the having clause added to SQL? In SQL, the where clause filters individual rows before any grouping occurs. However, when you use aggregate functions like sum, count, or avg to summarize data, you often need to filter the results of those groups. Since where cannot evaluate aggregate functions, the having clause was introduced to act as a filter specifically for grouped data. Possible answers are A, because where cannot be used with aggregate functions. B, to replace the where clause entirely. C, to sort grouped data. D, to join 3 or more tables. The answer is A. The having clause is essential for filtering aggregate results because where operates on raw, individual rows. It does not replace where, nor does it handle sorting or joining. What does the default constraint do? The default constraint is a schema-level rule that ensures data integrity by providing a fallback value. When a user inserts a new row but fails to provide a value for a specific column, the database automatically populates that column with the predefined default value instead of leaving it null or throwing an error. Here are the options. A, prevents any data from being entered. B, provides a fixed value for a column if no value is specified. C, makes the column a primary key. D, ensures all values in a column are unique. The answer is B. This constraint acts as a safety net for missing data. It does not restrict input, define keys, or enforce uniqueness, which are the roles of other constraints like not null, primary key, and unique. Which of these are valid SQL join types? Select all that apply. SQL joins allow you to combine rows from 2 or more tables based on a related column. The standard join types include inner join, returns records with matching values in both tables. Left/right join, returns all records from one table and the matched records from the other. Full outer join, returns all records when there is a match in either left or right table. There is no such thing as a center join in standard SQL syntax. Here are the options. A, inner join. B, full outer join. C, right join. D, center join. The answer is A, B, and C. Inner, full outer, and right are standard SQL join types. Center join is not a valid SQL command. What is the primary purpose of an index in a database? An index is a data structure, typically a B-tree, that improves the speed of data retrieval operations on a database table. By creating a pointer to the data, the database engine can find specific rows without scanning every single row in the table, a full table scan. Here are the options. A, to back up the data. B, to retrieve data from the database more quickly. C, to prevent unauthorized access. D, to compress the table size. The answer is B. Indexes are performance optimization tools. They do not provide security, backups, or compression. Their sole purpose is to accelerate search and lookup operations. What is a downside of having too many indexes on a table? While indexes speed up reading data, they introduce overhead during write operations. Every time you insert, update, or delete a row, the database must also update the associated index structures to keep them synchronized. Having too many indexes forces the database to perform this extra work for every single modification. Let's review the options. A, it makes select queries slower. B, it makes data updates, insert, update, delete, slower. C, it deletes random data. D, It limits the number of rows you can have. The answer is B. Indexes add maintenance overhead to write operations. They actually improve select performance, and they have no impact on table row limits or data integrity. What is a self-join? A self-join is a standard SQL join where a table is joined with itself as if it were two separate tables. To make this work, you must use table aliases to distinguish between the left and right instances of the same table in your query. This technique is particularly useful for hierarchical data or comparing rows within the same table, such as finding employees who report to the same manager or identifying pairs of products in the same category. Let's review the options. A join between two identical databases. B, a regular join, but the table is joined with itself. C, a join that doesn't require an on clause. D, a join performed automatically by the RDBMS. The answer is B. It is a standard join operation that uses table aliases to treat one table as two distinct entities. Other options are incorrect because self-joins still require an on clause, are not automatic, and do not involve multiple databases. What does the union operator do? The union operator is a set operation used to combine the result sets of two or more select statements into a single result set. For union to work, the following rules must be met. Each select statement must have the same number of columns. The columns must have similar data types. The columns must be in the same order. Unlike a join, which combines columns horizontally, union appends rows vertically. Possible answers are: A, combines the result set of two or more select statements. B, multiplies the values of two tables. C, joins tables horizontally based on a key. D, creates a backup of a table. The answer is A. Union stacks result sets vertically by merging rows from multiple queries. It does not multiply values, perform horizontal joins, or manage backups. What is the difference between union and union all? While both union and union all combine result sets, they differ in how they handle duplicate data. Union automatically removes duplicate rows from the final result set. This requires the database to perform a distinct sort operation, which can be resource-intensive. Union all keeps all rows, including duplicates. Because it does not need to filter or sort for uniqueness, it is generally faster than union. Possible answers are: A, union all includes duplicate values. Union selects only distinct values. B, union is faster than union all. C, union all only works with numbers. D, there is no difference. The answer is A. Union performs a distinct operation to remove duplicates, whereas union all simply concatenates the sets. Union is not necessarily faster, and both operators work across various data types. The exists operator is used to test for the existence of any record in a subquery. What does it return? The exists operator is a logical test used in a where clause to check if a subquery returns any rows. It is highly efficient because the database engine stops searching as soon as it finds the first matching record. If the subquery returns at least one row, exists evaluates to true. If the subquery returns no rows, exists evaluates to false. It is commonly used in correlated subqueries to filter data based on the presence of related records in another table. Choose between A, the actual data found. B, a Boolean, true/false. C, the count of records. D, the index of the record. The answer is B. Exists is a predicate that returns a Boolean value indicating whether a subquery found any results. It does not return the actual data, the count, or an index. Which constraint is used to limit the value range that can be placed in a column? The check constraint ensures that all values in a column satisfy a specific condition or Boolean expression. If a row, common use cases include ensuring an age column is greater than 18, restricting a price column to be non-negative, validating that a status column only contains specific allowed strings, e.g., active, inactive. Let's review the options. A. Limit. B. Range. C. Check. D. Validate. The answer is C. Check is the standard SQL constraint for enforcing value ranges or logical conditions on columns. Limit, range, and validate are not standard SQL constraint keywords for this purpose. Which SQL statement acts like an if-then-else statement? In SQL, the case expression serves as the primary conditional logic tool, allowing you to evaluate conditions and return specific values based on those evaluations. It functions similarly to if-then-else structures found in procedural programming languages. It is highly versatile, often used within select statements to transform data on the fly, or within order by clauses to create custom sorting logic. Let's review the options. A. If, else. B. When. C. Case. D. Switch. The answer is C. Case is the standard SQL keyword for conditional logic. If-else is typically used in procedural extensions like T-SQL or PL/SQL, rather than standard SQL queries, while when is a component of the case statement itself, not a standalone operator. Switch is not a valid SQL keyword. What is a SQL view? A view is a saved SQL query that acts as a virtual table. It does not store data physically. Instead, it stores the query definition. When you query a view, the database engine executes the underlying query to retrieve the current data. Security: you can restrict user access to specific columns or rows. Simplification: complex joins or aggregations can be hidden behind a simple view name. Consistency: ensures all users see the same calculated metrics. Choose between A. A physical copy of a table. B. A virtual table based on the result set of a SQL statement. C. A way to see the database schema. D. A specialized report format. The answer is B. A view is a virtual table because it dynamically generates its result set from the underlying tables every time it is accessed. It is not a physical copy of data, nor is it a schema browser or a report generator. Which function is used to round a numeric field to the number of decimals specified? The round function is the standard way to handle numeric precision in SQL. It takes two primary arguments: the numeric value you want to round and the number of decimal places to keep. Syntax: round, column name, decimals. Example: round 123.4561 results in 123.5. If the decimal argument is omitted, most SQL dialects default to rounding to the nearest whole number. The options are A. Approximate. B. Round. C. Fix. D. Decimal. The answer is B. Round is the built-in function designed specifically for decimal precision. The other options, approx, fix, decimal, are either not standard SQL functions for rounding or are used for data type definitions rather than mathematical rounding. The any and all operators are used with which clause? The any and all operators are used to compare a single value against a set of values returned by a subquery. Because they filter data based on specific conditions, they must be placed where filtering logic is permitted. Where filters individual rows before any grouping occurs. Having filters groups of data after the group by clause has been applied. Using these operators allows for powerful comparisons, such as finding all products that cost more than any item in a specific category. Let's review the options. A. Where or having. B. Order by. C. Group by. D. Insert into. The answer is A. Any and all are logical operators used to filter result sets, which is the specific purpose of the where and having clauses. They cannot be used in sorting, grouping, or data insertion clauses. What is the result of a cross-join? A cross-join produces a Cartesian product of two tables. This means every row from the first table is paired with every row from the second table. If Table A has 10 rows and Table B has 5 rows, the result will contain 50 rows. Refer to the diagram on screen. This is useful for generating combinations, such as pairing every user with every possible product to identify missing interactions. Choose between A. Only matching rows. B. A Cartesian product, every row from Table A with every row from Table B. C. An error if there is no common key. D. A merge of columns with the same name. The answer is B. A cross-join mathematically creates a Cartesian product by combining every row of one table with every row of another. It does not require matching keys, nor does it merge columns based on names. Which function returns the number of characters in a string expression? String manipulation often requires determining the length of a text field. While syntax varies slightly across database systems, such as SQL Server, MySQL, or PostgreSQL, the standard functions to count characters are len, or length. Len, commonly used in T-SQL, SQL Server. Length, commonly used in MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Oracle. These functions count every character, including spaces and special symbols, within the provided string expression. Possible answers are A. Count. B. Len, or length. C. Size. D. Char_count. The answer is B. Len and length are the standard industry functions for this purpose. Count is an aggregate function used to count rows in a result set, not characters in a string. Size is typically used for collection or object memory, and char_count is not a standard SQL function. Which statements are true about outer joins? Select all that apply. Outer joins are designed to return rows even when there is no match in the join table. They are essential for identifying missing data or ensuring all records from a primary table are preserved. Left join returns all rows from the left table and the matched rows from the right table. If no match exists, the result contains null for the right table's columns. Right join returns all rows from the right table and the matched rows from the left table. If no match exists, the result contains null for the left table's columns. Full outer join returns all rows when there is a match in either the left or right table, filling with null where data is missing on either side. Here are the options. A. Left join is a type of outer join. B. Right join is a type of outer join. C. Outer joins can return null values for non-matching rows. D. Outer joins only return exact matches. The answer is A, B, and C. Left and right joins are specific types of outer joins because they preserve unmatched rows by filling them with null. The statement claiming they only return exact matches is false, as that describes an inner join. Can a subquery be used within an AND operator? The AND operator is a powerful tool used to determine if a value matches any value in a specified list. When combined with a subquery, the AND operator allows you to dynamically filter results based on the output of another query. In this example, the subquery generates a list of IDs, and the outer query filters employees based on that list. Possible answers are A. Yes. B. No. The answer is A. Subqueries are frequently used with the AND operator to create flexible, dynamic filtering criteria based on data retrieved from other tables. A right join returns all records from the underscore table. A right join, or right outer join, focuses on the table listed to the right of the join keyword. It ensures that every record from that table appears in the final result set, regardless of whether a corresponding match exists in the left table. If a match is found, the joined data is displayed. If no match is found, the columns from the left table will show as null. This is the inverse of a left join, which prioritizes the table on the left. Let's review the options. A. Left. B. Right. C. Joined. D. Master. The answer is B. By definition, a right join prioritizes the table on the right side of the join clause, ensuring all its records are included in the output. What does the commit command do in a database transaction? Transactions are sequences of database operations treated as a single unit of work. To ensure data integrity, transactions follow the ACID properties: atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. Commit, the command that finalizes the transaction, making all changes permanent and visible to other users. Rollback, the command used to undo changes if an error occurs, reverting the database to its state before the transaction began. Let's review the options. A. Undoes all changes made. B. Saves all changes made during the transaction permanently. C. Starts a new transaction. D. Deletes the logs. The answer is B. Commit is the standard command to persist changes. Rollback is used to undo changes, and neither command starts a new transaction or manages log deletion. What does the rollback command do? In database management, transactions ensure data integrity by grouping a series of operations into a single unit of work. The rollback command acts as a safety mechanism, allowing you to revert the database state to the last stable point defined by a commit command. This is essential for handling errors or aborting changes that should not be persisted. Let's review the options. A. Undoes all changes since the last commit. B. Deletes the database. C. Moves the cursor to the first row. D. Restarts the server. The answer is A. Rollback specifically targets the undoing of uncommitted changes. Other options are incorrect because they describe destructive actions like deleting the database or administrative tasks like server restarts, which are unrelated to transaction control. What is auto_increment used for, specifically in MySQL? The AUTOINCREMIANTI attribute is a common feature in MySQL used to handle primary keys efficiently. When applied to a column, the database automatically assigns a unique, incrementing integer to every new row inserted, eliminating the need for the application to manually track or generate unique IDs. Choose between A. To automatically add new rows. B. To generate a unique number automatically when a new record is inserted. C. To update the date automatically. D. To increase the database storage size. The answer is B. This feature is designed for unique identifier generation. It does not automatically add rows, which requires an insert statement, update dates, or manage storage capacity. What does the coalesce function return? The coalesce function is a powerful tool for handling missing data. It evaluates a list of arguments in order and returns the first one that is not null. If all arguments are null, the function returns null. This is frequently used to provide default values in query results. The options are A. The sum of a list. B. The first non-null value in a list. C. The average of a list. D. The length of a list. The answer is B. Coalesce is specifically for null handling logic. It is not an aggregate function like sum or avg, nor does it measure the size of a list. What does blob stand for in SQL? A blob, binary large object, is a data type used to store large amounts of binary data, such as images, audio files, or other multimedia content, directly within a database. Unlike standard text fields, blobs are designed to handle raw binary streams without character encoding interpretation. Possible answers are A. Binary large object. B. Basic list of blocks. C. Binary logical order base. D. Base layer of binary. The answer is A. Blob is a standard industry acronym for binary large object. The other options are fabricated terms that do not represent SQL data types. Which join returns all records when there is a match in either left or right table? Joins are used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column. A full outer join, often shortened to full join, is the most inclusive join type. It returns all records from both the left and right tables, filling in null values where no match exists on the opposite side. Choose between A. Inner join, B. Left join, C. Full outer join, D. Natural join. The answer is C. Full outer join is the only join type that captures unmatched records from both tables. Inner join only returns matches, while left join only includes all records from the left table. Thanks for watching. With TestMole.com, you get everything in one place, from easy candidate invites and role-based access, to deep analytics and built-in anti-cheat mechanics. We'll assess code answers, free text responses, and issue verified certificates. Ready to simplify your hiring? Give TestMole a try. And one more thing. If you like this video and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe.